us, man, back again with another Manchester United podcast. Slightly different. We don't normally record at this time on a Sunday, but I had to vent. Listen, there's a lot to discuss, as you guys all know. If you support Manchester United, even if you don't support Manchester United, you know one thing that is for sure. Manchester United are the circus in town currently. Honestly, it's absolutely embarrassing how far this club has fallen. And not only has it fallen, we are basically doing side missions currently, which is making the reputation of the club even worse than it currently was. I mean, for me, personally, there's a lot to discuss. But as always, if you're joining us here live in the studio, slap a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on my socials. My match reactions are now on TikTok and Twitter. And TikTok and Instagram. So if you haven't already, feel free to follow me, Usman Talks United, on TikTok, Twitter, all that good stuff, and just show us your boy. But listen, we're gonna get into it. As the title suggests, Martial via Ralf and Manchester United bottle it. We are gonna be quickly brushing over the Martial circus that is currently happening, because for me personally, the biggest issue is the performance last night. That is the thing that I've woken up with the most disappointment. All I care about is the game, to be quite frankly honest with you. And that's the thing that's really frustrated me going into today, basically. But we're going to quickly brush up on the Martial thing. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure pretty much everyone has seen it. Ralf Rangnick, after the game, comes out and basically says Martial wants to leave. Not Martial wants to leave. Martial's refusing to play. Of course, he put it in his own words, but that's pretty much what he was saying. Everyone's seen the quotes. Who hasn't seen the quotes? So Ralf has said that. Martial, a couple hours later, has come out and put on his Instagram basically that it's false. It's complete nonsense what Ralf has said, basically, suggesting that he would never refuse to play for Manchester United. And he's been here for 7 years. He loves the fans. He loves the club, etc., etc. Look, anyone who knows me well. I've defended Martial for many years, and I'm not going to sit here and say Martial's right, Ralf is wrong, and vice versa, because that's not the kind of person I am. Because to be quite frankly honest with you, we're just assuming. We don't know who's right, we don't know who's wrong. It's one man's word against the other. That's basically what it is at the moment. I know Martial FC are going hard at Ralf at the moment, and people that just support the club like myself are going hard on Martial. But for me personally, the issue is a side mission. Like I said, it's a side quest to what the overall issue is, which is Manchester United Football Club and the board being an absolute embarrassment of a football club. So for me, it's a side quest, and I'm going to quickly brush over it. Martial needs to get sold. That's the simple solution for me. He wants to leave. He needs to play. He needs to be playing regularly to play international football. And it's as simple as that. It's best for both parties for him to leave. And it's sad to see him end this way, but at the same time, you know, we can't keep him at the club because it's going to bring even more toxicity. If Ralf is actually wrong and he is lying about this, then it's absolutely shocking. And from a manager's perspective, to randomly make up claims and throw your player under the bus like that, who was not even featuring. So I just don't understand why Ralf would do it. I just don't get his motives. But a lot of people are bringing up good points and saying that he has lied about Henderson, he has lied about the way Van der Beek will feature for him, and also the board in general have lied on numerous occasions regarding Martial's situation. So there potentially is some truth in there. There may be truth in there, but like I said, I'm just assuming Martial wants to leave anyways. He needs to be playing minutes. He just needs to go. It's as simple as that. That is the solution to this scenario. And Martial FC, I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry to be, this guy, but you guys need to fucking give it a rest. I'm sick and tired of the toxicity on the fucking Twitter timeline. Some people are completely going against the club to support a player. Why are we supporting the player more than the club? At the end of the day, this player wants to leave. He doesn't want to be here. So why are we going through, why are we jumping through hoops to protect Martial? Look, he may be right. He may, Ralf might have done him dirty. So I can understand why you would be frustrated from that extent. But people are telling Ralf to F off. People are saying, oh, Ralf is a problem, etc., etc. Ralf is here to clear out the squad. Martial has to go. It's just he doesn't want to be here anyway. So whether Ralf has gone about it the right way is a different conversation, because he probably has gone about it the wrong way, to be quite honest with you, if it is true that Martial has wanted to play and Ralf hasn't picked him and then thrown him under the bus. But at the same time, he's trying to get rid of him. It is what it is. I'm not happy with Ralf in general, and not even regarding Martial in general, with the way he's, his in-game management, his tactics, etc. So it's a completely different frustration with him. Regarding Martial, bro, just do what you got to do. Leave the club, bro, man. It's just getting dirty now. He might not be in the wrong at all. But what can you do? What can you do as a fan? I can't just sit here and say, oh, Martial's right. I can't sit here and say Ralf is right. But the issue is Man United get taken for mugs. It's either way. If Martial's right, it looks bad on the club. If Ralf is right, it looks bad on the fucking club. So we're losing either way. So why are people fighting about who's going to lose? We're losing. The club is suffering. Manchester United fans are suffering. I'm suffering as a fan. I'm suffering. I don't have any agendas to Ralf. I don't have any allegiance to Martial anymore. Like, I just want the club to do well. And at the moment, they're taking the piss. Someone is taking the piss. Whether it's Ralf or Martial, one of them is taking the piss at the club because they're lying. And it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. It's not fair on the fans, people like myself that support the team of everything, and other people like me. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is Manchester United doing well. And I don't give a shit about Martial. I don't give a shit about Ralf. All I care about is Man United. So one of them who's lying is to fucking sort his shit out. If it's Martial, just leave, my guy. Respectfully, I love you, but you got to go. It's time to go. So it's as simple as that. It's an absolute mess. Both people are in the wrong. For whatever reason, it's come out in the public, which it definitely should not have. Obviously, Ralf has brought it to the public, so that's on him. It should have been sorted out behind closed doors. I don't know why he's exposed Martial in the first place, because if it is true and Martial is refusing to play, he should not answer the question. I don't think he should have thrown him under the bus, and he should have sorted it out. So for me, catalog of errors from both sides. And just quickly, lastly, on Martial FC, this is for you guys. He's not faultless. He's made it very clear he wants to leave. So why are you protecting him like he's someone that wants to be at the club? He doesn't want to be here. So, you know, I just don't understand. Like, do you guys support Martial more than the club? I don't get it. He doesn't want to be here. So what is this notion that we should be protecting Martial more than the club? It just doesn't make sense to me. So for me personally, you know, Martial, Lingard, Pogba, whoever else it may be, whoever else wants to leave, just go. Just leave. Let's not make it even more toxic than it currently is. I want to get some of your comments in, because I know people aren't going to agree with me, because I know I've seen Twitter. I'm up to date with Twitter. So we're going to go through your comments now. Obviously, keep coming in. Peter, a real nasty how Ralf put it out there. Zero chance we get that quote. If United had hold on to those 3 points. I mean, there is a potential that he was deflecting from the performance, because he was culpable for us not winning that game. So Peter, that is a very good point. And that's what I was saying. Why has he brought it up after that game? They may have asked him directly. He should have ignored it. He should have lied. Do what you got to do. Don't bring it up. So it might have been a deflection tactic. And that's something that doesn't sit well with me, if that is factual. If it just come out that Ralf has lied as well, on top of his timing of the comments, then that is absolutely inexcusable from his part. I've got to be honest, because it's quite clean deflecting. Jose did some of the things. It's very toxic, and we don't need that. We don't want our manager to throw our players under the bus, especially if he's lying as well about that player. So for me, it's not going to do well. Why should we pay 50% if he's not at the club? Obviously, that's regarding Martial. Obviously, these are talking in the chat. Like and subscribe. As the United way has said, thank you as always for your support. Yeah, but he's not even worth the 200k, so United need to hold at least 50%. I think people are just discussing in the chat, so obviously I'll just skip up them comments. Feel your pain of smash, bro. This is Sammy, man. It's a struggle, man. Every single day, man. It's just like we can't have a normal day as United fans. But shout out to obviously United way, Ali, Prince, Sammy's in the chat. If I missed anyone, Peter, shout out to you as well, my guy. Feel free to drop a like on the video. Okay, so yeah, regarding the Martial thing, like I said, man, for me personally, it's an absolute shit show from both parties, to be honest. I don't know who's in the right. And as a Man United fan, how are we meant to speculate? How are we meant to prove who's in the right? We need to wait for the next 48 hours until I can give a concrete opinion, because I think a lot more quotes will come out very shortly. So we'll get into that. But let's get into the Aston Villa game, because this is where my frustrations are. This is the sole purpose I'm making this video right now. The reason I'm making this video is because we drew to Aston Villa 2-2. If we win that game, I may not have made this video, to be quite honest with you. But I have to vent, because I'm not happy. I'm not happy in the way that Ranieri dealt with that game in the second half. I'm absolutely fuming with the fact that his in-game management was so poor. I mean, I went to great lengths to do research on this guy, and the one thing myself and Kojo in particular spoke about so highly was his ability to be adaptive, proactive in games, and that's something that we definitely did not see yesterday. If anything, it was a polar opposite. It was quite evident that we needed a change in that game, and for whatever reason, he rested on his laurels and we got punished. That's the Premier League. This isn't, respectfully, this isn't the Bundesliga. You know, teams like Aston Villa and them teams, they don't respect you like that. They're going to come at you. They're going to try and get something out of the game, and they threw caution to the wing and caution to the wind, and they got their well-deserved draw in the end, really. You couldn't even begrudge them, because I think of the merit of the second half, they probably deserved the draw. But what would you value Martial as? What can you say about Martial at the moment? He's not even played this season, so it's very difficult to put value on him. But I'm going to say 30 million, which is crazy cheap, really, given his ability. I mean, if he was playing weekly, that price tag would be a lot higher. But who's going to pay 30 million for him? 35 million. I mean, I would if I was on the team. He's worth a punt for 35 million. So I'm going to say 35 million, 35 to 40 million. Obviously, his ability suggests he's worth more, but he's not playing. So what can you do? Ralf calls the demise. 70 minutes. Make a double change, fresh legs, and we see the game out horrible and predictable end to get. Absolutely, and I'm going to go into that very shortly. Before I get into, obviously, the comment that Ali just put in the chat, I just want to talk about, I just want to put Martial's worth 25 million at this point. If I'm Martial and he's actually lying on my name, I'm on Sky Sports for Monday evening, I don't care. I mean, I can understand that. If he is lying about Martial, like I said, it looks very bad on Ranieri. The timing of the comments, with the fact that he's just bottled the last 20 minutes of the game, and the fact that he's lying and throwing a player under the bus like that, I think is absolutely inexcusable for any manager, let alone a manager at Manchester United Football Club. Villa had United pin back. You couldn't keep the ball. You could be right, Prince. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly dissect the game. Obviously, I'm going to split it up in two halves, because I think it was a game in two halves. Of course, the scoreline suggests that as well, but I just think the performance was so bipolar. I don't really want to use that word, but so one scale to the other. You know, one half we were very good, and one half we were very poor. So for me, it's absolutely disappointing. But let's get into the first half performance and talk about the lineups. First things first, Marcus Rashford not in the team. Massive positive for me. Apparently he's picked up a knock, but for me personally, I just don't want to see him in the lineup. I think he needs time away from the spotlight, as I said in my previous video. So that was a massive positive. The fullbacks, positive. The back line, positive in terms of selection. No qualms there. I have absolutely no issues with Maguire being benched. I mean, if anything, I would, I would love to see that regularly throughout the entirety of the season, remaining of the season. So Ralf got that right. I was happy with that. The front lineup, Alanga comes into the team. I was indifferent about that thought, but Alanga proved that it was the right decision, because I thought he had a good performance for what I was expecting of him. And Mason Greenwood keeping his position on the right wing over Sancho. Again, I thought Mason Greenwood had a good performance for the majority of the game. He was, again, some people saying he's greedy. I can see moments where his decision making is letting him down, but like I said in the last video, he's a striker. Expect him to be making room for a shot, and obviously trying to get that way. And of course, that actually was one of the reasons we scored the first goal. It was a goalkeeper mistake. Bruno Fernandes, who for me was clear man of the match. I know they gave it to Ramsey, but Bruno Fernandes was absolutely phenomenal in that game, and not because he scored 2 goals. Of course that boosted his rating, but in terms of performance, it was a brilliant performance by Bruno Fernandes. And I've heard a lot of people say Bruno Fernandes didn't play well, but no, listen, he kept it simple, kept the ball ticking, 1 touch, 2 touch. His link up with Tellers in the first half was quality. Them two were completely running the game from the left side of the pitch. And I thought, for me personally, they were the best 2 players on the pitch for Man United, in particular in the first half. They were absolutely outstanding. The manner in which they controlled the game for large periods of the first half. Villa did somewhat get back into the game in the last 5 to 10 minutes in the first half. But them two in particular, very proud of their performance. And that's what I want to see from Bruno. He was sat a lot deeper. We were somewhat deployed in a 4-3-3 for majority of the game. And Aston Villa could not get through to us. They couldn't lay a glove on us, to be quite frankly honest with you, in the first half. And we were very well drilled, very well organised, great intensity. Everything you want from a Manchester United away performance. We were absolutely brilliant in the first half. I had no real criticisms or issues with the way he set us up. I thought we were defensively sound. Everyone played their part. Fred tried his best to lose the ball as many times as he possibly could, and he did that successfully in the first half. But the players did really well. I mean, the players put in a shift, and I couldn't begrudge them, like I said, in the first half. But the second half, it completely changed. I mean, first, the fatigue factor. I do believe that some of the players were fatigued on our pitch, on the pitch. And it was quite evident. Matic, in particular, someone who was fairly good in the first half, controlling the game, getting himself about, doing what he does as a DM. But it was quite evident his legs are gone. 60-minute mark, 70-minute mark maximum, his legs have completely gone and he was struggling to keep up the pace of the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's of age now. He's at 34. A young Matic has no qualms in that second half, but this isn't the same Matic. The intensity was there from both teams, and the game was getting away from us. Cavani, another player, offering absolutely nothing up top, not holding the ball, not linking the play, just offering nothing basically in terms of a striker. Sometimes they need to just hit a long ball. Your striker runs, holds the ball, maybe wins free kicks, buys us a bit of time, slows the game down, etc. And he did absolutely none of that. And I think for me personally, this is where the game faltered from a Man United perspective. The substitutions came significantly too late into the game, and they were the wrong substitutions again. And this is where I'm massively frustrated because, okay, granted, at 2-0, it was against the run of play. We did not deserve to score that second goal of the balance of play. But nevertheless, we were in a situation where 2-0 with 20 minutes on the clock, 2-0 up, and your Manchester United are playing against Aston Villa, regardless of how the game is panning out. They just subbed on Coutinho, and he didn't react. They subbed on Coutinho. You knew they were going to, push further up. Shout out to Nippon in the chat, by the way. Shout out to all the man them. But you knew what was going to happen. You knew that Aston Villa are going to push further. What should you be doing in that scenario? There's two things that you need to do. Firstly, sort out the midfield because it was getting overrun. As I mentioned, Matic in particular, his legs, he was struggling to keep pace with the rest of the game. Matic potentially could have come off, but if not, he had to take Cavani off. I would have personally took Cavani off very early into that second half, 65th minute max. He could have easily put Sancho on for Cavani, put Greenwood up top, and kept Elanga, Greenwood, and Sancho up top. Three young lads, all full of energy, full of pace, and ability to do something on the break. What does he do? He takes off Elanga for Sancho. Sancho, again, didn't cover himself in any glory. I'm not saying he did. But it was an absolutely shocking substitution. Apparently, Elanga had a knock. Okay, fair enough. But then you can still have the opportunity to make a double change. Bring on Donny van de Beek. This is the thing that I want to focus on. The Martial stuff is the side plot, as I said. Ranić, after the Monday game, Donny van de Beek comes on, changes the game. These are Ranić's comments, not mine. Donny comes on the game, changes it. When we went to, when we went to the diamond, we had more control when Donny came on the pitch. Fast forward 5 days later, it's exactly the same scenario with the exact same opposition. What does he do? He doesn't sub on Donny. If you're sat praising him on Monday, saying how much of a positive impact he had in terms of controlling the game and utilizing him as a player to, show things up in the middle of the park, why would you not then bring him on? It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's just completely inexcusable as a mistake. It cost us 2 points. And I'm not saying Donny comes on and win the game, but your own words suggest when Donny came on, we had more control. When Donny came on, we looked more compact. When Donny came on, it was difficult for them to get through. And anyone who watched the game would agree with those comments because that was quite apparent. When Donny came on against Aston Villa on Monday, he made the difference. And for me personally, I'm not even saying 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 70 minutes on the clock. We're still 2-0 to the good. They've just subbed on Coutinho on the 67-minute mark. But what does Ranić do? He does absolutely nothing. You have to be proactive as a manager. And this is my frustration with Ranić. His substitutions don't make sense. He subbed off fucking Mason Greenwood against Wolves when he was quite clearly our best attacker in that game, and he kept on other players such as Ronaldo and Cavani in that game. For me personally, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable, and that is the issue. He's making the same mistakes that Oli made, and for me, it cost us the game. It quite clearly cost us the game. As I've already said, first half he got it spot on, and I can't knock it. But second half, man, Donny should have come on. Lingard should have come on. What does he do? It goes 2-1. Great goal from Ramsey. Great finish. Whatever. Even then, he doesn't sub somebody on. Even then, he doesn't sub him on. 2-1. It's quite clear that they're coming on to us. It's clear that they're dominating the game. It's clear that our midfield is struggling and we're getting overrun. Why the fuck would you not sub a player on, man? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to why you would not sub a player on. Get Cavani off, get Lingard on. We had nothing going the other way, so it was just waves of Aston Villa attack, and that was down to Ranić. He invited the pressure on because We offered nothing on an escape, and we offered nothing in sense of a control of actually keeping the ball because the players were fatigued. The players were knackered. Okay, you can say some of the players need to be held accountable. Absolutely. I'm not denying that. Of course, the players are culpable as well. There's a couple of individual mistakes, in particular from Matic, that led up to the goal. You can say Varane was out of position for the second goal, etc., etc. But make no mistake about it, he bottled it. He bottled it. If Scott McTominay's on the bench, does Scott McTominay come on? Absolutely. Scott McTominay would have got substituted on. Make no mistake about it. Very early into that second half to shore it up. But why did not sub Donny on? He literally said that Donny gave us control on Monday and he didn't sub him on. That doesn't make sense to me. So for me, there's an issue behind scenes, favourites, etc. He's not getting the fair crack of the whip. And for me, it's not acceptable. And people will say, well, Donny hasn't done it. Donny's not been given a chance. He's not been given a chance. And the mad thing is, he gets subbed on the 88th minute and he almost scored. Oh my God. I almost lost my voice. When he turned that defender, I can't remember who it was. If he scored that goal, I would have lost it because that would have been so sweet that Donny, of all players, wins it us. And he was well blocked by the Aston Villa defender in the end. But it is what it is. Let's get some of your people's comments in. Shout out to Nal, always showing mad love. I flipping apologize, my cough's so bad. This club is a mess, as always, my brother. It's like a blank puzzle with only 50 pieces. Just be patient and you'll work them out. I mean, I hear that, Peter. I hear that, my brother. Why is Ralf begging him to stay? He's asked with that good, consistent service. Sorry, I don't know who that's referring to. Smash a like. Is that regarding Cavani? Bruno weren't that great, man. That Ramsey kid played way better. I don't agree, personally. I thought, for what I've wanted from Bruno Fernandes, I thought he absolutely executed his performance to perfection, to be honest with you. He kept it simple, kept the ball ticking. He was very good in the tackle as well. Tenacious. He was everywhere. He scored 2 goals as well, just to put a bit of gloss on the performance. David Pearson, they're going on about what's wrong with Rashford. I'm far more worried with what's wrong with Sancho. It's been diabolical given his transfer fee. Elanga looks really promising. I mean, the Sancho thing is a very fair comment. Sancho, for me, has been disappointing. Elanga came into the team and he did what Sancho should be doing, i.e. giving his space, giving his a willing running in behind, giving his width, being direct with the players. And overall, Elanga's performance was top-notch. So Sancho hasn't been a good time for him, to be honest. And as you said, it is worrying given his fee. But the thing with Sancho is he's still very young. I know Elanga is obviously younger than him, but he'll come good. I think Sancho will come good when we sort out the mess that is Manchester United Football Club. But the overall cohesive unit at the moment, it's in disarray, really. Confidence of Sancho and Rashford is on the floor currently. So hopefully they can find their feet sooner rather than later. But I do understand the frustration with Sancho because he came on and he was very poor, to be honest. Yes, shout out, Maisie. How are you doing? What a joke this club is. Absolutely, man. This is an opportunity to just vent. If you guys want to obviously have your say, feel free to keep getting your comments in. I just want to do this to get it off my chest because, to be honest with you, and I'm sure you guys watching this will be able to relate, it's just getting tiring now. As a fan, I'm tired, man. Can't we just have one normal day? Can't we just go 3 games and win without any issues? Is that not a thing? We've got so much quality in the team, and we can't even do the bare basic against teams we should be beating. Okay, Villa, they're a good team. They, Coutinho, fucking had to be Coutinho. That scored as well. But, they got a good team, Geraldino, right, etc. But as a Man United fan, why is there always something going on at the club? If it's not Martial, it's Rashford's situation. If it's not Rashford, there's Van der Beek situation. If it's not Van der Beek, there's a Ronaldo saga going on. Bro, every player, Maguire prior to that comes out and has his comments. Prior to that, Bruno Fernandes, Wan-Bissaka. I mean, it's such a long list. Luke Shaw, every single player seems to have their own subplot saga going on. It's just been an absolute drama fest. And as I tweeted last night, Amazon must be kicking themselves because they picked the wrong team. If they picked Manchester United, the sales would have been through the roof in terms of their all or nothing season, because Man United have been absolutely drama FC this season. Diabolical, as Ali would say, drama FC. Diabolical throughout the entirety of the season in terms of performances. It's just been a shit show from minute 1, to be quite frank. And I'm ready for the season to be over. Obviously, as a football fan, you're always excited to see your team play, but it's getting to the point now that I'm just dreading it, man. The main issue, this is from Noah, the main issue that United have a problem is the Glazers, 1, absolutely agree. Edward with 2, facts. The players 4, the manager, Ronaldo was not our problem. Tell me after the yesterday's performance was surprising. I mean, Ronaldo, the Ronaldo conversation is interesting because I actually do think the first half we did play very well, as I've already stated. The second half was shocking. And the thing is, Cavani didn't really play well. He ran a fair bit in the first half, don't get me wrong. And he was pressing, he's a winning presser, but he didn't offer anything as a threat in the final third. So is he really better than Ronaldo at the moment? Is Ronaldo the biggest issue? You know, Cavani didn't really pull up any trees yesterday, and he hasn't in the 2 games Ronaldo's been absent. Or is that down to the lack of creativity? I'm a bit too harsh on Cavani. So it's hard to really say because the team's playing so poorly. It's hard to really pinpoint what the issues are because there seems to be so many different issues within the current team, the current system, the current approach of games, and it's just a mess from top to bottom, really. As you mentioned, the Glazers are always the issue, and I think this is where fans like myself and other fans have somewhat, turned our attention away from the Glazers, and we're wrongfully because the Glazers are an absolute embarrassment. The way they've, looked after the club. Did you see the Aston Villa chairman come out prior to the game? I had to re-listen to his comments prior to coming to the show. Absolute breath of fresh air. The way he's talking so transparently about his relationship with Steven Gerrard and how they've had conversations about how they're going to improve the Aston Villa team, how they're going to attack the January transfer window, and they've done phenomenal business getting in Coutinho and Digne as well, who's a top quality fullback as we saw yesterday. And that's what a board should be doing. On the other hand, biggest club in the world, Manchester United, are arguably one of the biggest. Where is that board? Nowhere to be seen. Where is Ed Woodward? There's reports coming out already that Ranić is growing a frustrated figure because Manchester United are not backing him in the January window. He wants Haidara and he wants, Zakaria. Whether they're the right players or not, obviously, I don't know enough about both to really give a true, honest opinion on that. But he wants players and they're not backing him. And already he's already come to the terms that Manchester United are not going to give him the power and listen to everything he says. And whether that is the right thing from their perspective, because they don't think he's making the right selection. But why bring in Ranić? What was the point of bringing in Ranić? For me as a fan, I was happy Ranić is coming in because I finally thought we're going to have some direction in the transfer window. And already the first window, okay, January is hard, but the first window, there seems to be cracks appearing. And are any of us football fans surprised? Are any of us Man United fans surprised that there are cracks appearing with the transfer window? Absolutely not. This is what the Glazers have done. We saw it under Jose. They completely disregarded his IQ, football intelligence. Bankers that have no understanding of footballing matters are telling Jose Mourinho, the man who's won everything in the game, oh, we can't sign you a centre-back. You're not right. We're right. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did get back, but did he get a DM? Did he want a DM? We don't know. Potentially he wanted a DM, he didn't get one. And now third manager in charge in the matter of 3 years, 4 years, coming out and already saying, there's murmurs already saying that he's growing very frustrated because the Man United hierarchy are not backing him with the funds in the window. And I'm not saying that Man United should just splash the cat and that's always the way to resolve an issue. But let's be real, we need a DM. We needed a DM in summer. We needed a DM the year prior. It's not rocket science. We've needed a DM for a very long time. It's not like something that's just come about this season. Anyone who's watching Manchester United regularly knows we needed a DM going into the season. We needed a DM going into last season. And they've not replaced Carrick. They've still not replaced Michael Carrick. They took so long to replace Wayne Rooney. They took so long to replace other players. I mean, they don't care. And the whole purpose of Ranić coming in was for him to be an influential figure in sorting out the mess in terms of the transfer sagas and sorting out the mess in terms of the direction that the club is going in terms of transfer. That was his sole purpose. That was the main purpose of us getting Ranić. That was the tick. That was the reason why we was happy to get him. And already issues. And I think for me personally, it's quite clear that Man United are never going to move forward with this board. It doesn't matter who we sign. There's always going to be issues within the club. There's always going to be issues with transfers. There's always going to be issues with wages. It's hard for us to get rid of players. Martial apparently was linked to Sevilla, but we couldn't get rid of him because his wages are too high and he doesn't want to take a wage pay cut. I mean, that's on him. He doesn't have to do that. That's on us. Why did we give him 200k a week? Why are we paying why did Henderson get 120k a week? This is what I mean. The wage structure is an absolute shit show, and it's caused us so many problems in the last few years. It's unbelievable. Not only not being able to get rid of players, but attracting players has become an issue because there's players want astronomical wages, which then upsets the dressing room further because other players are like, who is this guy to come in and I've done X, Y, and Z for the club and he's getting more money than me. Got players like Pogba demanding stupid wages because they know Man United would potentially pay those wages. So, yeah, it's just an absolute shit show from top to bottom, and it always will be until they go. But sadly, it doesn't look like they're going to go any time soon. But let's keep getting some more comments in. I saw the tweet, mate. The football club is a shambles based on that tweet about Donny, which I just saw on social. Not understanding why Sancho isn't playing, but Greenwood, who hasn't a while, plays getting game time in Sancho's position. Fair enough. Shout out to Maisie as always in the court. Appreciate coming through. I'm not saying you have to play Donny, but keep recycling the same team with similar tactics and results would highly improve. Got to check here, bro. I can be spot on, bro. You know, I don't know how the saying completely goes, but doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different result is basically insanity. So why is he playing the same midfield? I mean, for me, it was absolutely perplexing that he played Fred over Donny van de Beek. In that system, he played, pardon me, he played a 4-3-3, which would have been very suited to Donny. He had Fred playing very high at the pitch, trying to win the ball high at the pitch, which is I don't have any qualms with because he did actually set up the second goal. But Donny is more than capable of doing that, and on top of that, Donny's got more quality. So it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make no sense whatsoever. I was happy to pop a like on Bossman David. I appreciate you, man. Obviously, I appreciate all the support and everyone coming through. Like I said, it's a bit of a spontaneous show, but I just want to come and vent because, to be quite honest with you, I'm still devastated after dropping 2 points yesterday, man. Do you see Mason Greenwood receiving the nod for Qatar? Absolutely not. I think he's too young for that. Said this even when we had Ali, nothing would change with the board we have and the owners we have. I mean, look, the board, what can we do? What can we do as a fan? Like, what can we do? Like, we are basically stuck with a board that has no interest in the betterment of Manchester United Football Club. And people rightly would say Man United spend X, Y, and Z money. And that is true. We have spent a lot of money. There's no denying that. But there's no clear plan with the signings. I mean, we spent 130 million on Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I'm sorry. And then add another 40 million from, what's his name, Amad Diallo. Not to say he can't be a good player. So 170 million. Diallo has not had a look in. He's not been put on loan. What are we doing with him first? 40 million literally gone down the drain as it currently stands with Diallo. And that's nothing against him. The management of him, it doesn't make sense. Why did we sign him and Pelestri? Neither of them even had a look in at Manchester United Football Club. And then you got Wan-Bissaka, you got Maguire. I mean, it's just shocking signings. Money well spent poorly, man. Poorly. Honest to God, the signings have been shocking. You could chuck Sancho in there if you really want to. He hasn't really pulled up a treat, but I'm a huge fan of Sancho, so maybe I'm being a bit biased with him. Plus, he just got here as well, so I'm going to cut him a bit of slack. But for me personally, man, it's been an absolute shit show in terms of signings. I'm not really happy about it, man. Yeah, I saw this, Daisy. I think a few people have put this in the comments, actually. I didn't mention it prior because I was just waiting to get to the right moment. And this is absolutely pathetic. I know they have to, a part of me knows they have to post it because obviously it's a milestone, isn't it? They have to somewhat acknowledge the milestone. But it's absolutely embarrassing. He literally came on for 2 minutes to claim that 50th appearance. Let's just factor that in. He came on for 2 minutes after Ranić was waxing lyrical at how important and integral he was for us winning on Monday. And he came on for 2 minutes to reach his 50th appearance. And it's just an issue with the club. And it's just like, I don't know what that is. It's just read the room, admin. You didn't need to post that, man. And Donny shared it as well on Insta. I mean, Donny's obviously proud of that achievement, but from a fan perspective, the fact that he hasn't been given a chance and still isn't getting a chance under the new management, I don't get it. I do not understand. Everyone get your questions. If us, one, we'll try to answer them. Yeah, I appreciate it. Keep getting questions if you've got any. Obviously, I'll go through as much as I possibly can. Top remains the same. Full facts. Maisie is just spitting facts as always. Keep getting your thoughts in. Our kills in the building. Shout out to you. I think the club has to move away from the culture of backing players over managers. Mourinho should have been backed by the club when he wanted to get rid of Marcel Papacho. I mean, this is a fair point. I mean, Mourinho wanted to get rid of a lot of players. So whether Mourinho is right or wrong, somewhat remains still to be seen. But I do think it's very toxic when you back a player over a manager because the manager is not as I mean, the manager is more indispensable in terms of you can replace the manager easier, but in this scenario, the player is more easily replaceable because Martial wants to leave and Ranić has just got here. So I think it's very toxic because I feel like if Martial gets pushed out the door, a lot of people that are Martial FC are going to start to have resentment towards Ralf, which is then breeding more toxicity every time he loses. It's just going to be the same Ollie cycle. I can't be bothered, man. I don't want this nonsense of, oh, Ralf piss off, blah, blah, blah. You know, you got rid of my favorite player. So be it. Pogba's my favorite player, but if he gets sold, he gets sold. You know, if it's the betterment of the team, then so be it. Because that's all I care about. Listen, but before I get into some more comments, I just want to go through some of the stuff. Big up Osman, smash the likes. Shout out, man. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. I just want to go through a couple of more other things. I want to talk about a couple of, well, I think a couple of positives. Rafael Varane. I want to mention Rafael Varane because I think it's very important. I actually felt like Varane and Lindelof were very good as a partnership. I think one thing that is very noticeable with them two playing together is the manner in which they distribute the ball. Obviously, Lindelof has got somewhat of a reputation now at Man United with his ability to spread the play, so to speak. But in general, he's good on the ball. But Varane has been a breath of fresh air for me. The major difference between him and Maguire is the fact that, well, obviously he's a lot better. But in terms of, you know, us trying to attack, he starts the attacks very quickly, he gets the ball, and he just pushes it to the wings. He doesn't deal on the ball. He doesn't take 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. He gets the ball, 1 touch, 2 touch, it's gone. And he moves the ball with purpose. And I think that's very important. He punches the ball into Telles. And I thought Telles, for me, alongside Varane, I thought the left side were very good. I thought they were very good. I've given Telles somewhat a fair bit of criticism, but I thought them two in particular was solid for majority of the game. Of course, there was a couple of issues towards the end because the players were lacking behind, but I think Varane and Lindelof, I know Lindelof might have made a couple of mistakes, etc. But them two as a partnership, I think that's our best partnership. Bailly's not available. Varane and Lindelof, I think they complement each other perfectly. Yes, they may have made a mistake for one of the goals, but that's football. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. No one ever keeps clean sheets. But I don't think it was their fault, to be honest. I think Matic was just too tired to get back and cover. I mean, the first goal was Fred's fault. A bit unlucky on Fred's part, to be honest. I must add, you know, he does his job, wins the ball, but he plays it into Ramsey's path perfectly. The second goal, again, you could argue Varane was out of position, but overall, you know, we just lost the ball cheaply and they punished us. And it comes down at Delow's side, sadly, on that occasion. So Delow may be more culpable for the goals. Lindelof potentially out of position for that one. But overall, I thought Lindelof and Varane were a massive improvement on what we've seen so far. We just need a DM. We need someone like a Fabinho. If we sign Fabinho, I don't understand why we never did, but if we sign a Fabinho, I genuinely think we'd be absolutely fantastic as a defensive unit with Lindelof, Varane, and Fabinho. Obviously, I don't know why I'm using it as an example, but someone of that ilk, someone who's got quality to sit and actually, you know, clean up the mess. Because Matic, up until his legs went, I actually thought he had a good game. I thought he did his job. You know, he had a couple of shaky moments here and there, but overall, he did his job fairly well. But his legs went. That's what it was, and he had to get subbed off, and he didn't get subbed off. So for me, that was the biggest issue from Ranić. You know, his in-game management cost us the 2 points, as I said at the start of the show, and that's something that needs to improve massively moving forward. But there was a lot of positives to take from that game. I know Ranić after the game said there wasn't, but for me personally, I was a lot happier with the first half. I thought we did really well. We just lacked a bit of IQ, in-game IQ. I mean, that was the thing that cost us. There was moments where Fred was still playing further up the pitch where he had to drop into the 4-3-3. We were sitting in a 4-5-1 moments in the first half, and he was working so well because they couldn't do anything against us. And that was where you need some in-game management. You need players to pull people in and say, look, Fred, come back and defend. We're under the cosh. We need you in this. And just come sit in front of the back line and help us out for 10 minutes. And I think that was the problem. And we didn't solve that issue. And that's what cost us the game at the end of the day. And that is the reason we're probably not going to get top 4, because we don't have this. We don't have any fucking football knowledge, like in terms of, you know, doing the bare basic. Grab a player, yo, sit next to me. I mean, Matic was getting overrun. Bruno was doing okay defensively. Fred, pull him back. Sit here, Fred. Don't go past the halfway line for 10 minutes. There was weather this storm. It never happened. Fred was still further up next to Cavani. But It comes back to Ranić. He completely bottled the game for me. But they were positive. I thought Bruno Fernandes's performance, very much disciplined. And Elanga, I thought, put in a good shift. I thought Greenwood had a good game. He was very neat and tidy in the ball. His passing range has definitely improved. He's switching the ball consistently, and he was very accurate in the way he was switching the ball. So I was happy with Greenwood. Fred, Matic did well up until a certain point. And like I said, the two centre-backs did well. I thought Delors did really well going forward. Defensively, there was a couple of mistakes here and there. Digne skinned him on a couple of occasions. But I prefer Delors over Wan-Bissaka. I think he offers more balance to the team. And like I said, Tellez had a good game. But De Gea was quite clearly fantastic, as he always is. There were a lot of positives. But like I said, last 20 minutes, we threw the game away. And that's on us. We got to learn from that. Because we can't be dropping points against teams like Aston Villa when we're 2-0 to the good. And that's something that is very frustrating for me as a fan. I feel dropping Harry Maguire was a brave thing to do. I didn't like the whole throwing the captain armband in a game. That's a proper example for role model for young children wanting to see the hands. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He has done good things. Dropping Maguire is definitely a positive. And he made it very clear that after the game, he did drop. Sorry, before the game, they asked him about Maguire, and he said he's been dropped basically in a roundabout way. Of course, it was a bit more polite with his choosing of words. I like Basuma from Brighton. I think Basuma could do a job, but at the moment, he's got a lot of other off-the-field issues. I don't know if we should touch him. Donny should come on in 30 minutes. Absolutely agree. I agree with the Varane and Lindelof combo. The speed of passing was very impressive. Now, your structure will have been shit. It's not about individuals, it's about structure. I mean, that is true. Modric to keep the ball, maybe Variety would be a dream signing for me. I'm a massive fan of Variety. He does both parts of the game very well, defensively and offensively, in starting attacks, building attacks, etc. He's a quality player. Varane and Lindelof moved the ball quickly from the back. Midfield was an issue yesterday, and the worrying thing is, it's quite obvious what the issues was today at the end, but Ralf didn't react to it. Yeah, as I said, I mean, I thought Fred and Matic did well up until a point. But if not both of them, one of them had to come off. I'm surprised he took Bruno off, actually, because I thought Bruno was quite good on the ball, which is not something we say often, but he was very good. His ball retention was fantastic. So he actually took off the wrong player. I took off Bruno. I thought he should have took off Fred because he was losing the ball and he offering us absolutely no control in the middle of the park. Look at Liverpool as an example, as you don't have the oil riches like City, United, Chelsea. I mean, Calvin Phillips is good. Calvin Phillips could potentially come and do a job, but I'm not. He's injured anyway, so Kimmich is the perfect. I mean, Kimmich. I mean, we're not going to get Kimmich. I don't want to entertain that, to be quite honest with my brother. But yeah, he was a phenomenal player. Phenomenal player. I have just lost my notes slightly, so just bear with me while I find them. But anyways, just off the back of the United game. Very disappointed, man. Absolutely shocking result, really, to be quite honest. In the grand scheme of things, we needed to get the 3 points, and we completely fumbled the bag. I'm just going to quickly finish off with my thoughts going into the Brentford game. Sorry, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do a match reaction for a match preview. Sorry for that, because I might not have time on Tuesday, but I'll try my best. So yeah, just very quickly regarding the Brentford thing. For me personally, I would keep the same team actually. The only change would be Donny, as I always will say. For me, in fact, no, actually, Ronaldo comes in for Cavani. And I try to get Donny in there, probably for Fred. In fact, Matic might be tired, so maybe I go McTominay and Donny potentially, or Fred and Donny. But look, it's never going to happen, sadly. I would personally put Donny in there, but we'll have to wait and see. Are you going to do a watch along? I will be doing a watch along for the game on Brentford. Thank you very much for asking, Nippon. Ralf considers Donny as a 10. He will only feature as a substitute for Bruno. Should leave alone. I mean, that's the issue, isn't it? Donny is more than capable of playing in one of the double pivots, as he's shown against his cameo against Watford. But what do I know, innit? We played a 4-3-3 yesterday for large periods of the first half, and then defensively or off the ball, we kind of went into a 4-5-1. So there's more than ample opportunity to play Donny as one of the 8s in the 3. So for me, we've got to utilize. We've got to mix it up. As someone said earlier, we keep doing the same thing and shuffling the same pack with the same midfielders. We're not going to get a different outcome. Why is he not shuffling the pack? So that's disappointing as well. But we could be here and speak about Donny until we're blue in the face. It's not going to happen. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Innit? Do you know what I mean? What can we say? Because I just don't see anything coming of it. But listen, let's just quickly talk about the Brentford game. The biggest thing I need to see from the Brentford game is a similar performance to the first half. We need to see control and we need to win that game emphatically. I want to see a 4-0. I know Brentford are a good team, respectfully, and they've done a good job here and there against some of the bigger teams. But it's integral for me that we actually build a bit of momentum now, because at the end of the day, we keep dropping stupid points. The toxicity in the dressing room is rising massively, so that's a major concern for me as a football fan. But I need to see some quick improvements ASAP, because at the moment it's very bleak, man. It's very bleak. And it's just not going to get any. It's not going to get any better. Is there anytime soon? No, I'm probably going to do a show on Tuesday, because I don't really want to go into the Brentford game. To be quite honest with you, I'm just still disappointed from yesterday. I'll probably. I know Prince is laughing at me. I'm not saying we'd win 4-0. Don't be silly. And I'm not saying we're going to win 4-0. We might not even win. It might just be a draw. To be honest, it might be a 1-1. But what I'm saying is we need to put down a good performance, because I can't remember the last time we played well. Like, generally, like. We need some happiness, man. Basically, what I'm saying is, as a fan, we need a bit of happiness. Fuck it out, because it's bleak. But yeah, Nipon, just to answer your question. Sorry, I'm not available at 9. I'm on the radio, as I'm always on the radio at that time, weekly. Yeah, that's correct, actually. Yeah, I'm on the radio. I've got a show there, so I won't be available at 9. Sorry, my brother. But we'll definitely do something in the near future, my guy. So just let me know. Obviously, drop me a DM on Twitter and whatnot. Thomas Frank is a good manager. He definitely is a good manager. This isn't discrediting Brentford at all. I'm just speaking from a Man United perspective. We need to put in a good performance at some point, because when are we going to start to actually turn the season around? Ralf has to learn from these mistakes. Is he going to learn from these mistakes? Absolutely not. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. I just want to vent. I just want to shout out to everyone that has tuned in. I just want to say thank you for everyone for all your comments. Obviously, the engagement's been fantastic on this video. Maybe I do something similar to this on a Sunday, and obviously I might just do it every Sunday at 1 o'clock. Do slap a like on the video if you like this kind of content. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Very close to 1.3k, so I'd appreciate any support on that front. Obviously, share it on my socials and follow me if you want to see my tweets really. And I suppose follow me on Twitter is probably, if you're not already, is probably the most important thing, because that's where you know when the shows are going live, sort of thing, if you don't follow me on YouTube. But anyways, just want to say shout out to everyone. Thank you for everyone coming through. I'm just going to enjoy the West Ham Leeds game, and hopefully that's a draw, because it might help us out. But nevertheless, Manchester United, the circus that is Manchester United. Just the last question here. Do you think Rashford was dropped from the squad yesterday, or was it injury? I don't think it was an injury. I think he was dropped. And I think if that is the case and he was dropped, I think that's absolute phenomenal management from Ranić, because Rashford needed to come out of the spotlight. He was under a lot of pressure off the back of his performance against Wolves, and I think it was a correct decision to bring him out of the spotlight. So for me, no issues with the Rashford situation, the way he's dealt with it, whether he was injured or not. I just think it's the right thing, and I'm happy that it happened. But listen, it is what it is. Obviously, Ranić is definitely to blame as well for the 2 points dropped. He needs to learn quickly, because at the moment it's an absolute circus at Manchester United. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Big up to everyone. Big up to you, Nippon. Shout out to all the man them. Shout out to you, Joe, United Way, Akil, etc. If I've missed someone, I do apologize. But yeah, shout out to everyone in the comment section. I appreciate you guys. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I will be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. with myself, Kish, Cahill. Hopefully Daniel might be back. Kojo's going to be back, and Lawless might be back. So we might actually have the full gang for the Ralf Fan podcast show. So make sure you obviously stay tuned for that. There's a lot to discuss, as you can imagine. The guys have got a lot of opinions on Man United situation, the Arsenal scenario, obviously what happened with their game called off. Obviously, Tuchel bottling it. Lukaku being an absolute weapon, as always. There's a lot to discuss, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Back tomorrow, 9 o'clock.